Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome indeed, yes, to another edition of the Mark Mosey Show, as we're going to grab this guy right now on the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. He's there in Indianapolis having too much fun at the Final Four. Games coming up tonight, the national title, Michigan and UConn. He's my great friend, Coach Billy Mims. Coach, how you doing today, buddy?
Well, I'm cold, Mark. I'm in the Midwest, and you know about the Midwest. I've got layers on, you see. I think I have 4 layers on today because we don't have big jackets in Florida. And right now it's like 50 degrees outside here, but the wind chill factor makes it feel like 35.
Well, you sent me the photos. You got the hookup. You're across the street from the football stadium. You're right there. So you can't run? What's the problem? Come on.
Wait, let me see if I can make this happen real quick, okay? So
right.
Bear with me a second.
All right, can you make this work?
I'm going to move this for 1 second.
All right. He's moving around.
We're gonna get mobile here in the so let's see if this will work.
Oh, we can see it. That's awesome, dude.
Wait a second.
That is a big spaceship landed there in Indianapolis.
Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yes.
And
you don't
know
need
the old saying, Mark.
What?
You know, it's literally a stone's throw from my window.
It really is. Dude, you don't need an Uber. You're just walking back and forth. You're watching the game. Game ends. You're home in 2 seconds. Good
right back here in the bed. Turn the television on. Asleep in 5.
Man, I'm following you on social media, and the photos you're sending me, you were at the Final Four games, Division II championship, Division III, the NIT, and you texted me the best game you saw was the NIT final. Is that right?
Unbelievable game. I mean, you know, I was an English minor in college, so I like English literature.
So was I, buddy.
Hey,
together, yeah.
We got something in common there, buddy.
Yeah.
I love English literature, and it makes me remember the old A Tale of Two Cities. Last night was a tale of two halves in the Auburn-Tulsa NIT championship game, right? First half, Auburn completely dominated the game. Tulsa looked like they didn't even belong. Head coach Eric Conkle, who you're going to have to help me with this, Mark.
What?
You're from the Midwest. Eric Conkle, I know Eric, right? He used to be the head assistant coach of the Miami Hurricanes, all right? He left Miami to become a head coach of Tulsa. He went from Hurricanes to Hurricanes, but I didn't know they had hurricanes in Oklahoma. I thought they were tornadoes in Oklahoma, not hurricanes.
Here's what we got to do. We got to get Tom Terry on with WFTV, our weather meteorologist guy. He's got to answer. Don't look at me. I like this idea that you've made me the representative for all of the Midwest.
Absolutely. You're from Chicago.
Yes. Yeah, so we'll get Tom on the phone. He'll answer the question.
But so the game last night, right? Tulsa looked like they didn't even belong in the first half. They couldn't make a shot for ages. And the backcourt, Overton and Pettiford of Auburn, they look like an NBA backcourt. They were playing out of this world. So at halftime, we go to this special place called the 67 Club, and in Pacers land underneath the bleachers midcourt of Gainbridge Fieldhouse where the Indiana Pacers play. And every coach in there is coming by saying, "Coach, what do you think of the game? What do you think of the game?" And I'm like, "What game? Tulsa didn't show up." Then we go out in the second half, and we're sitting courtside. We got great seats. We're sitting courtside, and we're all sitting there going, "This is a different game. It's a different team." Because it felt like they went on a 24-2 run to come from depths of depression to take the lead. The Tulsa crowd went nuts. They ended up taking the lead, thought they were going to win it. They had a 5-point lead late in regulation. But Charles Barkley was sitting courtside a few feet away from us, and he was in pain as he was watching his beloved Auburn Tigers blow a 20-plus point lead. He was in pain, right? Then he started standing up and cheering. The Tulsa fans started telling Charles to sit down and to get off the referees. So it was such a classic. It was entertainment, I'm telling you.
I love your voice. I'm going to try to help you here. Your voice is going out, which I understand. I noticed something in the story also. So if you follow Coach at the Final Four, he's like 3 miles away, and Coach has good seats, and he's still 3 miles away from the court. Notice he does the name drop. Oh yeah, by the way, we're courtside at the Pacers. I think did you prefer those seats compared
Absolutely, Mark. Absolutely. But the funny thing was, right? So when all this pandemonium's going on and Tulsa's come back, they have all the momentum in the game. And all of a sudden, then what happens is guys that are going to be in the NBA step up. Pettiford and Overton just took over the game down the stretch, hit a couple of big shots. Pettiford hit a couple of big shots to get him back in it. And then Overton hit a monster corner three to tie the game up and send it to overtime. And all of a sudden, Sir Charles came back to life.
Oh.
Barkley, and he was cheering them through. And obviously Bruce Pearl, Auburn's former head coach, whose son now, Stephen Pearl, coaches the team. Bruce was sitting with Charles, and Bruce's wife was there. And, he's cheering his son on, wanting to see his son in his first year as a head coach win some sort of championship. And the overtime really belonged to the Auburn Tigers. So when you ask me if the best game I've seen all weekend, it was not one of the Division I semifinals. Michigan, blew out their opponent. Michigan, Illinois, it was just, I wanted to see Illinois win. I will say this, Mark.
Yeah.
Every single section of Lucas Oil Stadium, even the UConn section, had orange shirts in it. There were Illinois fans. I thought the game was being played in Champaign. There were Illinois fans in every section. That's the only sad thing about seeing them lose, because, man, tonight's game would have been incredible if the entire city of Champaign had come over to see their Fighting Illini. So that was kind of disappointing. But, Michigan played a tremendous game. UConn played a tremendous game. Everybody's saying that going into tonight's championship game, can UConn really compete with Michigan? Because Michigan have a loaded lineup. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
UConn have, obviously, Alex Caravan, who's been there for like 25 years playing at UConn. The other day, how many times do you see a current player get his number hoisted into the rafters? Alex Caravan did, okay? His last home game at UConn, they raised his jersey, into the rafters, and he's still playing postseason basketball. That's amazing. They also have this young kid named Braylon Mullins, who is right here from Indianapolis. And they wouldn't be here in Indianapolis if Braylon Mullins hadn't have hit the three to knock out Duke and get them here to the Final Four. And even though you don't have all the Illini fans, there'll probably be 20,000 friends and family of Braylon Mullins in Lucas Oil Stadium tonight.
I will tell you this. I give all the credit to UConn. They had the pedigree of championship level defense, especially physicality and defense. Their offense didn't wow me in the game against Illinois. There were stretches, they went 5 or 6 minutes and didn't score. But dude, Illinois talked about this after the game. UConn had 2 7-footers out there, and they were hounding every possession. Every possession was hard for Illinois. And you were there in person. I don't know if it was with a telescope trying to watch the game, but Illinois had these bunny shots, as Tim Duncan would talk about, little balls at the rim, and they're just not going in point blank. All right. So right now, as of this afternoon, Vegas, different books have them 6.5, 7.5 point favorite tonight. I think for UConn, they cannot have any dry spell. There cannot be they are toast. I like Michigan tonight. What do you think of this game?
Well, I'll say this. I think the question mark for me is Yaxel Lendeborg, right, for Michigan. He's their best player. He was the Big Ten Player of the Year. He's headed to the NBA without a doubt. But he's got a really, really bad ankle situation. It happened in 2 games recently in the postseason. He turned it in one pretty bad, and he came back from that and looked great. Then it happened again the other night. He turns it, and he goes out, and he's limping off the floor here. I was shocked, I'll be honest. I was shocked that Dusty May put him back in the game. It was like they didn't need him. The game was over. They'd blown people out. And maybe they just wanted to try it and see how it was. Maybe they just wanted to give Yaxel that say, hey, Coach, I got to play in this game. I want to be a part of it because he's such a big part of their success. So they put him back in the game, right? But I think his health is going to play a big factor in tonight's game.
Okay, so how would you play if you're coaching Michigan, you're Dusty May, how would you approach him where you're not sure if he can go?
Well, I'm sure they had all the medical personnel on the planet available to them yesterday. They had another walkthrough in Lucas Oil Stadium yesterday. I'm sure the trainers were working with him. He probably did very, very little, to tax that ankle anymore. He shot the ball. He moved around. He went through the walkthrough. I doubt he did anything that in a crowd of people where he could jump up and land on it. You know what I mean? So I believe that they're probably saying they've announced he's good to go. But I think we won't really know that until we see him running up down the floor, until we see him try to score in traffic, until we see him try to rebound in traffic. And how does his ankle affect his mobility? That we'll find that out tonight, right? But I do believe that if he can play and he plays a significant amount of minutes in this game, then they're going to be really a tough task for UConn. On the other hand, UConn are riding on such a high wave right now. I don't know if I've ever seen a coach on the planet more confident in his team than Danny Hurley is right now. He's smiling, the biggest smile in the state of Connecticut everywhere he goes. He believes in their team. They had a miracle victory over Duke. And everybody would say they can't compete with Michigan. Michigan have an NBA star-studded lineup. They can't compete with them. They beat Duke, right? They were down 20 points, 18, 19 points in the first half against Duke. They came back and beat Duke. So Duke owned the first half against UConn. UConn turned it around, flipped the script, and owned the second half, and then made a miraculous shot to carry themselves here. If they could beat Duke, or if they could compete with Duke, which they did enough to win the game, they ought to be able to compete with Michigan. Again, Michigan, in my opinion, I think Michigan has the more talented team, the deeper team, and overall, I think they are the better basketball team going into tonight's game. Yaxel's injury is a problem, could be a big factor. But on the other hand, I'm not going to knock Danny Hurley and what that UConn team has done all season. Ironically, here's a funny thing. Ironically in this, the two teams that are meeting for the national championship tonight are only on very short winning streaks. Both lost in their conference tournament.
You talked about this when we started the March Madness a couple weeks ago. I think it's a great point. I look at it from a TV producer standpoint. What are the storylines going into this game? Number one, UConn has a chance to win 3 and 4 years and to really solidify themselves as a dynasty and a mega blue blood, because I don't think they get the same respect Kansas, you would say North Carolina, Duke, Kentucky. But if they can win this one, that takes them to the next echelon. But if you're Michigan, hey, Dusty May, I win a national title. I'm now one of the big new faces of college basketball. I'm a champion. And what I told you last week, the Big Ten. Michigan finally wins first time since 89 or whatever it is. Hey, Michigan's finally back, and the Big Ten is the best conference in college basketball. So you got all these things going on, all of it.
Well, and also you think about Arizona, and you're right. You and I talked about this, right? Arizona came into this thing the winning streak, active winning streak in college basketball. And when you think the best teams in the country go into March Madness, they're all going to lose bar one. One team will come out of the 68 best teams in the country late in the season on the longest winning streak. So after tonight's national championship game, this is going to be one of the shortest, longest winning streaks in history going into next season. Arizona came in here riding high. They hadn't lost until I think it was at Kansas in early February. They won the Big 12 regular season championship. They won the Big 12 conference tournament. They were the only conference tournament champion to make it to Indianapolis. The other three had all lost. And if you look at UConn, they didn't win the regular season Big East title or the Big East tournament title. At least Michigan comes in as regular season Big Ten champions. So for UConn to win it tonight, it really is one of those against all odds stories. They didn't win their conference regular season. So during the whole season, they weren't the best team in the Big East. During the Big East tournament, they weren't the best team in the Big East tournament. But in March Madness right now, they got a chance to be the best team at the end of the season.
I'll one-up you. They weren't even the best team in their own school. The women's team was 38-0, okay, and the defending champions. I love –
Hey,
what?
Speaking of that, though, you have to look at that championship game. I mean, the women's tournament was almost with Final Four was almost as entertaining, exciting, and maybe more so than the men's because, number one, you got Gino Auriemma and Dawn Staley having a, bare knuckles, no holds bar at half court at the end of the game. And then Gino, who's won at more tournaments than John Wooden, walks off and doesn't even shake her hand after the game, has to apologize the next day for his behavior.
I love it.
And then Dawn Staley and her Gamecocks turn around and get annihilated. It is maybe one of the worst beatdowns in NCAA championship game history. I mean, it looked like UCLA was playing a high school team.
I was watching the game with my family yesterday, because especially my mom. She's like, well, I got to see Dawn Staley now. She's all on the Dawn Staley bandwagon. Yeah. And we all wanted her to actually fight Gino because I think she'd take him in a fight. I think she would. And my thought process was, oh, man, that was a beatdown. What if Gino would have lost UCLA? Who knows what he would have done then if he got embarrassed like that?
Well, I've got to say this. I even though I'm from South Carolina, and I'm a Gamecock fan. Yeah. I was pulling for UCLA to win.
What?
And I'm gonna shock you on that. I know, right?
What?
The reason I was pulling for UCLA, one, because I'm standing out here in Indianapolis, and I walked past right before the start of the game, and I did watch the game. Right before the start of the game, downtown Indy, I walked past a statue of John Wooden, and because he's from Indiana originally, and I'm going, oh gosh, that's an omen right there. John Wooden statue, Indianapolis, Indiana native, greatest coach in the history of college basketball. UCLA are going to win today. And secondly, Sienna Betts and her sister, Lauren Betts, two of Sienna, obviously, MVP of the NCAA tournament, MVP of the Big 12 conference, this year.
Big Ten.
Big Ten, sorry.
How about the Big Ten?
Trying to connect myself, okay? Correct myself. Big Ten Player of the Year, Lauren Betts. Okay, she's 6'7". She's certainly going to have a tremendous WNBA, European international pro career. But why am I saying all this? Her father, Andy Betts, was a 7-footer that I knew quite a few years ago from England. And when I first got to Leicester to coach the Leicester Riders, Andy Betts reached out to me because he was developed in the Leicester Riders youth program. And that's the team that I took over and helped them win their first pro championship in club history. And that young 7-footer at that point had already gone to the States. Her dad, Lauren and Sienna Betts, their father, was a tremendous player at Long Beach State University, where he met their mother. They got together, got married, had a few kids, 2 which are famous UCLA players right now. And his son is 15 years old, Dylan Betts. Their younger brother plays for Team USA, right? Under 15, Team USA, under no, he actually plays for either the under 16 or under 18, Team USA, as the youngest player. He's 15 years old and he's already like 6'9". And already people are talking about him as an NBA prospect. So my connection with Andy Betts and his amazing children that have carried on Dad's tradition of being a very talented, tall basketball player made my heart swing and pull for UCLA.
I'll just end with this. I know you got another game you have to go to. It's nonstop. There's an old episode of Martin with Martin Lawrence from the 90s from Fox where they're putting on some type of basketball tournament. And the joke is Martin's a sexist pig in the episode where he doesn't think women should play in the tournament. So then it's the best. It's so great to watch now. So Gina's girlfriend gets a hold of this. So she gets a hold of Team USA women's basketball. So then they show up in the tournament and it's Dawn Staley, Lisa Leslie, Rebecca Lobo, and they embarrass Martin as friends. It's so great. Okay. So when I watch that and then I think of Dawn, oh yeah, she'd take Gino. Oh, she'd take him. And go watch those old Dawn Staley Virginia highlights. Oh man, she could ball. All right. She could. 5'6". Don't mess with her. She was great. All right. Thank you so much for coming on. Good luck watching the game, and I'll get you on later this week to recap.
Thank you, Mark.